Welcome back to the Ambition Over Fear portal. I am Atlas Opia and I help people expand their interdimensional knowledge. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how to astral travel more efficiently and easier, so it doesn't take such a toll on your nervous system and you're able to travel the universe whenever your soul is called to it, to satisfy that mystical nature within. Now, if you have already astral traveled or you're wanting to learn how to, this video can definitely provide you with some tips if you watch until the end. Astral traveling is when you take your consciousness outside of your body. And because everything is connected through a quantum field, when you're moving your consciousness from one point into another, you're traveling. So remove the idea that to astral travel you have to have this out-of-body experience and it has to be this intense action that really distracts you from everything going on in your human reincarnation. Because a lot of times people get introduced to astral traveling because they go deep into meditation or they have a spiritual journey and they really have a high octave form of astral traveling, when not only is their consciousness outside of their body, but their consciousness is merging completely into where they're going outside of their body, and it feels like it's non-interrupted. And if you have an association to astral traveling from that, then you might want to try this new technique, because if you're only astral traveling when you can meditate or be in a state that is non-interruptive, it makes your ability to move around in different dimensions bound to when you're able to be isolated and calm for a long period of time. The idea is to know that your consciousness is going to fluctuate between your body and your higher self if you allow it to. And if you respond to the call to go into a higher dimension, to gain information, or to pick up on an energy you want to bring into your body, this comes from applying this technique of astral traveling. So step one is, when you're being mindful of the information coming through your five senses, you're moving your consciousness from whatever your mind is occupied with in the present moment to the sense that is connecting you to the external world. But the whole idea of mindfulness will allow you to not only pick up on a sense, but merge into that information entirely. So when you're being mindful of something you're seeing or something you're hearing, what you're doing is you're focusing all of your attention for a long period of time into that information, what you're seeing, a specific color, something you're smelling, a sound you're hearing. And if you can allow yourself to realize that you're more than a body and a mind, and if you go outside of the container of your soul, which is your body, then your soul is what you're traveling with. You're just moving around where your consciousness is getting to experience. So if you completely immerse yourself in one of your senses, you can become that energy, you can become that sound, you can become what you're looking at, you can become what you're smelling. Now, how you do this, and empaths already have a enhanced ability to shapeshift, but everybody can. And the idea is that we are a field of energy, and everything else around us is energy. And everything is connected through the purest form of energy, which is consciousness. And your external world is a reflection of your internal world. And anytime you think about something, you're actually the thing you're thinking about, because you wouldn't be able to bring a specific energy into your consciousness unless you are vibrating at the same frequency. Use this metaphor for an example. If two people call each other, their phones have to be synced with the same technology. So everything is connected in that way. So you shift your consciousness into a different energy and you become that energy. Thus, astral traveling is a way for you to pick up on an energy that you may need to shift into. You might not always know why this is happening, but if you get that call and you hear this very high-pitched sound, allow your consciousness to drift out of your body and go into the sound. And imagine that this sound is the only thing that exists in the entire universe for this moment. In that explanation, the only thing you are is that sound as your soul is traveling into that energy. So step 2 on how to astral travel more efficiently is you explain to your brain that every single part of this universe is just energy creating a manifestation. And the difference between a human, which is a soul reincarnating in a 3rd dimension, and a soul reincarnating as a starseed in a higher dimension, is what you're manifesting is of a different dimension. We may manifest different experiences on this planet. We may bring in different types of success, health, people, experiences. But in a higher dimension, that starseed being may manifest a different type of interaction and may create a different type of energy. So when you can tell your mind that, you realize that there is no limitation to what your soul is a part of. So as you move into that understanding, you can realize that everything is you, because you as a soul are a doorway into the entire universe. And the creation of souls comes from the universe branching itself off into individualistic beings that have their own creative identity and expand in their own direction. And that is how the universe expands. It is like running a company, but hiring all different people that have their own creative expertise. If you have a leader that has a high self-esteem, he can allow the people of the company to take whatever the whole is making and add their own unique set of creativity to it. But the people of that company are still part of the same entity. Your soul is still the universe. So when you can realize that the universe itself is just you moving into different positions depending on where you want to go, then you let go of the idea that this world is completely solid and everything solid you see is just energy vibrating so quickly that it looks solid to your physical eyes, but your third eye can recognize that the entire world is just building blocks creating different things. This allows your mind to be more elastic and let go of the solidification of this world long enough so you can move into a different form that your mind may view as solid, but your soul knows is just energy. That's step 2, okay? Now step 3 on how to astral travel more efficiently is realizing that your imagination is real. Now, I know as we're growing up, we get taught that our imagination is make-believe, and you know, usually the highly creative people will go into school systems and be forced to color in the lines metaphorically. So as we're growing up, our ability to trust in our imagination gets dampened, and we rely heavily on logic. And logic is good when we're trying to figure out how does something function in this matrix. If you're building a business, what are the logical steps to do so? If you're wanting to manifest something, what are the logical steps you would need as a person? What energy would you need to embody from your identity so you can match that frequency? But as we move into the evolved consciousness of ourselves, we realize that the imagination is our human mind connecting to the information that is coming through our third eye. Our third eye is an organ we have in our body that acts as a doorway into the entire universe and all of its dimensions. But in order for our human mind of the third dimension to even comprehend anything of a different dimension, there has to be a mechanism that can translate the information in a way for the brain to understand it, and that is the imagination. So all you really have to do is realize that whatever you do in your imagination happens. Wherever you go in your imagination is where your consciousness is going. And if it doesn't feel like that, which it won't for most of us at the beginning, that's because our mind is used to believing that these thoughts are make-believe. And if we think that, hey, I am going to imagine my cellular system healing and to see golden light going into the parts of my body that are injured, well, that's me not being realistic. See, it's how the logical mind will suffocate the infinite imagination. So if you want to go somewhere, allow your imagination to take you there, and then just go into that space. If you're wanting to perform an alchemic action, you just imagine that thing happening. And you reaffirm to your mind that the imagination is real, and the imagination is how your body can connect to the entire universe. So step 4 in how to be more efficient when we're astral traveling is truly leading with the inner child. Because oftentimes, if we're going into spaces that are beyond the mind will begin to panic, because its functionality is to keep your formless soul in a form that is a body by connecting it to the mechanics of this third dimensional matrix. So it's doing a good job, but we have to know when different parts of our system are in need of being submissive. So when we astral travel, when we allow our imagination to take us where our soul wants to go, when we're allowing the art of astral traveling, which is just placing your consciousness somewhere outside of your body, when you can lead with wonder and curiosity and playfulness, then when you're in your imagination and you see a different planet, or you see a star system, or you see a group of different interdimensional beings that are connected to you because you have had a reincarnation as them at one point, your mind will be less triggered because your inner child will be leading. And when you feel the mind to come up and go, oh, I'm going too far outside of my body, am I going to leave it forever? That is just the system in alarm mode. And then your inner child can go to the mind, as if you're having a conversation with somebody sitting right across from you. And you go, mind, I know you're scared because we're going beyond. But you're gonna be okay because you know how to operate the body. So I'm going to go into a different dimension, and mind, you're gonna be okay because I'm here to protect you. The mind is always used to being the leader before the awakening and ascension and shift in consciousness. But then when the soul becomes a leader and the inner child is a mediator between the soul and the mind, then we're less panicky when we expand into new levels of awareness. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been raining off and on, so hopefully it didn't mess with the lens at all, but it's definitely beautiful outside here. I make videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Definitely subscribe if you're interested on expanding your interdimensional knowledge, and not just from a position of the divine feminine, but a position of the masculine, which is creating structure for your mystical nature. Then subscribe, like, comment, share, and also I offer galactic quantum coaching. If you're a starseed and an alchemist and you're wondering what the next stage of life is and how to truly access your potential in a way that your mind understands it and not fights it, let me teach you the interdimensional skills I've channeled. Until next time, you guys have an amazing day. Bye.